ready for part two, some more frugal tips. Back in a minute. Good morning. Good morning. This is Jan from New York City. Channel name Jan from New York City saves money. I love helping people keep some more of their own hard-earned money. Could that be you? How you doing today? Thanks for coming back for part two of some more frugal tips and tricks. In case you missed yesterday, go back to yesterday's video for part one. There you go. Part of the thing that we as frugal people do, sometimes we need to remind ourselves of the rich lives that we actually do live. Because sometimes people get frugal burnout. So one way to avoid that is by doing like little things throughout the course of the day. It could be one time a day or a couple times in a week, but by all means, take advantage. One of my most favorite things to do in the wintertime, for example, it's totally for free. Just put it on YouTube, for example. If you have a nice TV, you put it on your background, like the little fireplace thing. You could get that thing rolling on a chilly day and sit down with a cup of hot chocolate and curl up in your favorite chair and read a book, or have your little mug of soup. Oh, that feels just so rich and so nice. Everyone can afford it. Everybody listening can have their own free fireplace, if you will. Try it. It really makes you feel good. And in the summertime, if you want to cool off a little bit, conversely, go over to the beach scenery, which I love so much. I love the beach. Okay. I'm a beach baby. I don't care what anybody says, but I really, really am. Which is kind of ironic since I am, my horoscope sign, well, fire and water, I guess. Okay. But anyway, you could take full advantage of those for the price of just tapping on that video. Hello, there you go, which is zero. Okay. I find listening to favorite music is a great frugal tip. Music changes the mood. Ever go to a party and you're having fun, but there's no music in the background. Then all of a sudden, somebody plays some music of some sort from some source, whether it's a live band, whether it's a DJ, whether you're at a home party and somebody's got, music coming from their, music player of some sort or whatever. It changes the mood instantly, even if you're just alone at home and you're having a tough, stressful day, or you just need a mental break. Let's say you're having a stress-filled work from home kind of morning and you want to take like a miniature 10-minute vacation mental break. Well, a good thing to do is work out a little bit, walk around, stretch, whatever, but put that favorite music of yours on in the background. I'm telling you, it is a good mood lifter. And sometimes think outside of the box. Like, let's say that your favorite type of music is from a particular decade or a particular genre, just for the fun of it. If it is not your normal thing to do, for example, to listen to light classical music, I find it very relaxing. Not that I listen to light classical music all day. That is not my natural forte. But if I want a little bit of a musical mental break, I will go there for a few minutes. So find that thing that you love to do, but also once in a while consider thinking outside of the box musically, and it'll be great. It's a really, really good thing to do. The next thing, that practical tip that frugal people in general, I believe, like to do is have a more of a minimalistic approach into how they keep things. Like usually frugal people, usually, in my opinion, this is not science, just something that I've run into personally. Many frugal people love to live a clutter-free life. Less you have, less you have to deal with, less you have to worry about, less you have to concern yourself with. And one thing that I have learned, and I'm working on it as a project, is to making sure that a lot of the surfaces aren't filled with so many things, like counter surfaces, like put them away appropriately. It just looks calmer. A calmer look is a great frugal feel. It doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of planning, a few minutes of your time, and a tiny amount of effort. I tell you, effort really, really can pay off. I love it. Now, sometimes people have like irregular type of incomes. Okay, now we're talking about frugality here, a little bit of money management. So I'm just going over this briefly, but one day in the future, I'd like to expound upon this in a future video. When you have a budget with like the same income every month, that's fairly easy to manage. You know what's coming in, you know what I'm saying? You know definitely, but there are folks that, well, not necessarily. If they're getting one month could be better than another. They could be in the same occupation, but let's say they're involved in some sort of sales or whatever. It's not always the same income coming in. That could be a little tricky managing, but the best suggestion that I could do is think for yourself what usually is the least amount of money that you can expect to come in and work with that amount. Don't exceed that number. Like take the minimum number dollar amount that you expect to come in, and you work with that, and everything else is an extra. And in the meantime, what you do is build up your funds to a more predictable, what you normally live on, during your month. This is why it is so imperative to know your numbers. Again, future video expound upon. I have to make a note to really to do that somewhere at some time in the future. Being more self-reliant is an amazing thing, and I believe that in general in life, frugal people are definitely much more self-reliant, not always depending on other people to do things. They like to do things themselves, which is kind of cool. They like to be a little bit of a do-it-yourselfer. I saw this gentleman on a video. I was always fascinated by people that purchase steel constructions. Don't ask me why. Those steel constructions you find, those like prefabbed ones, people use them for, buildings and little offices or whatever use the person has, or storage, whatever. So this one gentleman was very, very smart. And he explained that a person can turn it into a tiny house, for example. And that person was more than willing not to live in it. He wanted to add it as an adjunct to storage, he and his wife. So they invested in having that, the steel construction done. Not, they didn't do that themselves, but the gentleman did everything else himself. He's working on the flooring, working on the everything else. The windows were put in already, but I believe he was just working on absolutely everything else. The everything else is that it takes to put together like a small workable space. And the way he explained it, because of his attitude and taking the time and just doing it himself, he's saving like in the multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what normally might cost, let's say, about $250,000 because of this gentleman's efforts, well, he said this himself in the video, less than $100,000. I should find that video and hook it up in the description. It was really, really quite interesting. Let's go back to sensible, practical living. Okay, not everybody's interested in doing a steel construction, but maybe some people want to grow a little bit of an herb garden. Just saying, just saying. If you could do it, hey, even apartment dwellers can find ways to do that if this is something of interest to that person. But frugal people in general in life will always find the way, are creative, and definitely much more self-reliant, I believe, in general in life. I really respect that. I have to tell you that. I really, really do. I also would appreciate if you would do the following for me. Sorry for the technical delay. Sometimes that happens. That's out of my control. And by the way, don't forget to take a minute to do this every time you have a chance. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take care of yourselves and your families.